Testing. Good evening, councillors and members in the public gallery. I will officially open this evening's ordinary council meeting at 7 p.m. Thank you for your attendance tonight. I'd like to remind everyone in the chambers to please ensure comments are respectful to the council and all meeting attendees, including city officers and those in our public gallery. Please note this meeting is being live streamed. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Item 3 is announcements from the presiding member, and there are none this evening. Item 4 is attendance, and all councillors are present in the chamber. Applications for leave of absence. Would anyone like to apply? No. Item 5 is disclosures of interest. Councillors, any interest to disclose? Councillor Ladder.
Thank you. On 10.3.1 Maylands Town Centre Master Plan, I have a proximity interest due to owning a business in this area on 8th Avenue, which is included in the master plan, so I will leave the room for that.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Item 10.1.2, expressions of interest with regards to Hudson Street, Bayswater. My family celebrated my daughter's second birthday at that building, so it's an impartial, and I will stay in the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Palmer.
Thank you. This is an impartial interest on 10.1.2, where 2 Hudson Street is has been mentioned. It is a childcare group, a play group, and Bayswater play group. And it's just to say that this is impartial as I'm chair of the Bayswater Childcare Association, which is a distinct difference, and both being non-profit, theirs and mine. But to assure council, it's impartial. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ossowski.
Thank you. I have 3 tonight. First one's for item 10.1.1, the Morley Station Precinct Structure Plan and Scheme Amendment. My mother's house is near the border of the structure plan area, and I also have an association with the Morley Windmills Sports Club, which is located at Watton Reserve within that structure plan area. It's an impartial interest, and I'll be staying in the room. In regards to item 10.1.2, the expression of interest process for city properties, I have met with members of the Bayswater Play Group who use the facility at 2 Hudson Street, and I've met the people there in my role as councillor. It's an impartial interest, and I'll be staying in the room. And in regards to item 10.2.1, financial report for the period ended 30 June 2025, Watton Reserve and surrounds is mentioned in the report. I have an association with the Morley Windmills Sports Club, who leases a building at that reserve from the city. Impartial interest, staying in the room.
Thank you. Councillor Eveson.
Cool. Yeah, the same ones as the ABF from last week. So the first one is 10.1.1, Morley Station Precinct Structure Plan and Scheme Amendment 100. It's an impartial interest. I'm a member of the Morley Windmills who lease a building at Watton Reserve, which is within the structure plan area. The second one is item 10.2.1, Financial Report for the period ended 30 June 2025. Also impartial. I'm a member of the Morley Windmills Sports Club who lease a building at Watton Reserve, which is mentioned in the report. So both impartial and stay in the room for both. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll also declare an interest in item 10.1.2, expression of interest process for city properties. One of the people who gave a deputation last week is known to me. We used to work together. It's an impartial interest, and I'll be staying in the room. So I'll now move on to public question time, but before I do, I just acknowledge the presence this evening of the member for Maylands, Dan Bull, in the gallery tonight. We'll now move on to public question time. Members of the gallery, I'll first call for questions on items on this evening's agenda, and then I will open to questions on items not on the agenda. Please provide your name and suburb, and before you ask your questions, and please keep in mind that you are limited to 3 questions. So would someone like to ask an item on this evening's agenda?
So, first question.
Oh, sorry, just your name and suburb.
Yeah. Aviv Silman, Naranda. Can I ask, roughly, it wasn't in the agenda, roughly, what's the expected incoming sales expected for 2 Hudson Street from 10.1.2?
So it's just that item, 10.1.2, is just an expression of interest process. So I don't believe we have any figures at this stage.
You must have some reserve price, though.
It's an expression of interest. So expression of interest for disposal can include sale, lease, and I'll just check with the CEO if I've missed anything. Part sale of. So there is no reserve at this stage. And I'll go to the CEO to clarify.
So through you, Madam Mayor, you're correct. It includes the disposal is sell, lease or otherwise dispose. But under the Local Government Act, when council considers that, then they would need to get an up-to-date valuation in order to dispose if that disposal was by sale. But that would occur once the expressions of interest have been received.
Okay. So, when does the review of the planning process start? I've heard about that from some people, but there's going to be like a new planning process that'll open up more availability for more development. Where are we with that?
Thank you for your question. I'll go to the director to respond.
Thank you through the chair, and thank you for your question. The city is currently preparing its draft local planning scheme, which will align with its local planning strategy that's in place and the state government state planning strategy. That document is expected to be considered by council in August. Following that meeting, should council endorse that scheme, it will go through to the state government before it is advertised to the wider community.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Mayor. Cale Black, Bayswater. My questions relate to agenda item 10.1.2, the expression of interest process for city properties. Is the city aware that the lease to Casimir Montessori Playgroup Incorporated for 2 Hudson Street, Bayswater is active until 2027?
Yes.
Does the city have the view that on-street parking only for a playgroup facility without the option for off-street car parking is a safe enough option for parents and young children?
I'll go to the CEO.
Through you, Madam Mayor, there is a number of schools and facilities where there is on-street parking around the city. And at this location, we would still consider that a safe option for parents to drop off their children at that location, as well as the parking that is provided on site. But if there was anything to occur or there was any concerns, then we would do an impact study or safety assessment to ensure that as well.
Thank you. Of the 430 individual parcels of land and buildings identified in the city's land acquisition and disposal strategy, how many of those currently have a lease arrangement or are occupied by one or more community organisations, incorporated associations or frontline city services?
Thank you for your question. I'll go to the CEO.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, there's a lot of information in that question, so we'd need to take that on notice and happy to get the responses back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question on an item?
Hi, I'm Brianne Rasmussen from Maylands. So this is with reference to item 10.1.2. When the report refers to the playgroup, does it truly capture the reality that this facility is a vibrant hub for 2 distinct playgroups operating each 4 sessions every single week?
Thank you for your question. Council is aware of that fact.
And given that our playgroups alone serve over 100 local families and their children, and the building is regularly used for weekend party hire, can we truly say that this asset is anything less than fully utilised for the benefit of our community?
I'll go to the CEO.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think council are considering that item tonight, so they'll note that information from the question that was raised.
Thank you. And is the city aware that our e-petition supporting the retention of this important community asset has already gathered over 260 signatures in just over a week?
No, but thank you for that information. I wasn't aware of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Hi, Marnie McElrath Menora. Our council is fully aware that the car park at 2 Hudson Street is currently well utilised for both playgroup session and party hires, and that street parking in this area is currently restricted?
Yes.
Furthermore, has the city fully considered the significant impact any change to this parking provision would have on the residents of Hudson Street has on the residents of Hudson Street if families are forced to seek alternative parking on the road?
Thank you for your question. I'll go to the CEO.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we haven't conducted any analysis in relation to that. And as I said before, council's considering this tonight, and there is alternates that have been put forward by a number of councillors.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Caitlin Conway from Maylands, and this is also in regard to item 10.1.2. Considering the undeniable community value, the historical significance and the sheer number of families who rely on 2 Hudson Street is disposing of this irreplaceable asset in the best interests of Bayswater's future.
Thank you for your question. Council will consider that as part of the item tonight.
How does the disposal of a thriving, affordable community hub like 2 Hudson Street align with the city's stated commitment to supporting families and fostering connected, resilient communities?
Thank you for your question. Council will consider that tonight.
Beyond any immediate financial consideration, has the city fully assessed the invaluable social capital and long-term community benefits that 2 Hudson Street provides and the profound social cost of its potential loss?
Thank you for your question. That will be considered tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, are there questions on items not on this evening's agenda? No? So, councillors, the city has received questions in writing from 3 ratepayers. The questions and responses are listed in your run sheet and I will take those as read. The questions and responses are also available on the city's website and will be provided in the minutes for this meeting. So we'll move on to item 7, which is confirmation of minutes. And we move to the confirmation of the minutes for the ordinary council meeting of the 1st of July 2025. Can I have a mover and seconder? Move Councillor Osazowski, seconded Councillor Maleka. All those in favour? That is unanimous. And we also have to confirm the minutes of the special council meeting of the 25th of June 2025. Do I have a mover and seconder? Move Councillor Maleka, seconded Councillor Palmer. All those in favour? That's unanimous. So I move on to item 8, presentations. Petitions, councillors, do you have anyone have a petition to table? No. And presentations, there are none this evening. And there are no deputations this evening and no delegate reports this evening. So we move on to the method of dealing with agenda business. And councillors, I'll be moving item 10.1.2, expression of interest process for city properties. And I'll move to Councillor Latta.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor.
I will pull 10.1.3 with regards to the MRC and 10.3.1, the Maylands Town Centre Master Plan. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson.
10.2.1, just for another question, please.
10.2.1. Yep. Okay. Councillor Maleka. Councillor Sadowski.
Nothing.
Councillor Eason. Nothing. Councillor Palmer. Councillor Sutherland. Okay. So we'll now move to consideration of the reports in section 10. Can I please have a mover and seconder to bring forward items 10.1.2, 10.1.3 and 10.3.1, which were subject to deputations? Moved Councillor Palmer, seconded Councillor Latta. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Okay, so the first item is 10.1.2, expression of interest process for city properties. I've provided an alternate motion to the city and councillors have that in their run sheet. So I'll just get that on the screen. So the changes are in red for the council and members of the gallery. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Latta. So I'll just speak to this briefly. The changes that have been made from the officer's recommendation is to remove 2 Hudson Street, Bayswater, as a property from the expression of interest process, as well as LIM 3, which is to remove the property from the land acquisition and disposal process. So just on that point, I'd like to acknowledge the feedback from the community on this issue, and the city has taken on board the, well, it could have been done better. So I acknowledge that on behalf of the city, and for those reasons, I feel that it's important to remove this not only from the expression of interest process, but also from the LADS process. And I will go to Councillor Latta to speak to that further.
Thank you. I do think that, yeah, I echo what you have said. I do think that there are things that we can learn from this going forward with this process. And I want to thank all of the members of the playgroup who came and gave their time and grappled with council processes to put forward their view. And I think they've done so passionately and successfully. I, with Councillor Palmer, went and visited the playgroups during the week and saw the building and got a good understanding from the deputations about the level of utilisation, and I was impressed. I think that actually in the realm of utilisation of city buildings, it's extremely high. It's used basically every day of the week, and there's room for what is a growing organisation to expand within that. So I think that that's really awesome. And the other ones, I'm happy for the city to seek EOIs. I did go and visit Red Gum Way to look at the condition of that building, and it's certainly an older building, but I don't think it's at end of life. So I'm pleased to see that the EOI process will also allow for organisations to express interest in a lease option for that. I have some concerns about disposing of that property through sale when we don't have a plan for other community spaces in that area, which I think is something that we need to consider as part of this process as well. But that will come up when we hear back. So yeah, I'm happy with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I would like to speak for, but also move a few amendments. I probably will move them separately because they are with regards to different assets. So my first amendment will be with regards to 2 Hudson Street, and the city has it in the run sheet. I will start with that. This is number 3 in the run sheet. Yes. Perhaps, Madam Mayor, I will read it.
Go ahead.
That Council requests the CEO prepare a report for the November 2025 Ordinary Council meeting on the condition of the building and explaining the options and process to seek expressions of interest for out-of-school hours care providers for 2 Hudson Street, Bayswater, when it is not in use by the existing playgroup operators, and undertake consultation with the 2 playgroups on the issue.
Thank you. So I don't accept that amendment as the mover. So do you want to see if there's a seconder for
Yes,
it? Do I have a seconder? That lapses.
Okay, so I will move the other amendments at this stage.
Which is?
With regards
So we'll
to...
do them one at a time?
Yes.
Yep, so
And
LIM
then,
2.
and then I will speak about the whole motion.
So LIM 2, you'd like to add in as a LIM 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to read that one out?
Yes, please. That council requests the CEO commence the expression of interest process for the consideration of either partial or full disposal of city-owned properties at the corner of Guildford Road and Slade Street, Bayswater, comprising Lot 27, Lot 168, numbers 466 until 476 Guildford Road, and numbers 94, 96, and 102 Slade Street, as depicted on the attached map.
I'll have a disclosure of interest if this item's going to be discussed, so I'll need to.
Okay. It's a proximity
It's a
interest?
proximity interest.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm happy to accept that amendment. I'll check with the seconder.
Can I just understand what the implications are for going to an EOI with properties that have current lease? Is that what happens with those tenants then?
I'll go to the CEO.
It's through you, Madam Mayor. The property that I believe Councillor Latta is referring to is a recent lease that the city just entered into with the Multicultural Society. So with that one, there is a redevelopment clause in there, and it was a short-term lease. So they are fully aware of that when they signed the lease.
What about the property on Slade Street, the neighbouring property? I believe that's also under a current lease.
I'm not aware of the current lease provisions on that, unless any of the directors are. No, so we'd need to take that on notice.
I think I'm not going to accept this just because I don't feel comfortable doing this without all the information about those properties. Yeah.
So then I will ask if we have to debate that amendment. So I'll ask if there's a seconder. Councillor Sutherland, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Look, I'll speak just on this amendment. I thought if we are going ahead with EOI, which is something I asked Council to do a few months ago, and I think the CEO and the directors to bring it before us so quickly, we should go out with the whole area that we actually own and see the options and possibilities. I expect this process to take quite a lot of time with regards to existing leases. We will need to make decisions here. All the inside, as we were advised by the city, is contaminated land, but all the outside, from what I understand, is not. So I didn't find it useful to go out with the contaminated land and not with the outer area that we own. I can see potential for some kind of development looking into the land inside if it can be developed. So I think we need to look at the whole area for the first time. Previous councils always left it to the too hard basket. We are finally addressing this very prime strategic location in the city of Bayswater, not far from the Bayswater Town Centre. We have the train station now, it's on Guildford Road. It is a prime location to see what we can do with this land, to have more housing, more opportunities for residents and for the community. So this is the motion, to look at all the site and see what are options. And as the motion says, it is for full and partial. We might get some options for some of the lots and not all, and that is fine.
Thank you, Councillor Sutherland.
Yeah, well said. I don't have much to add. I do think it's a really good motion. I think put it out there and see what happens. As we know, we've got a housing crisis. We've got a lot of land there. It's close to the city. I think we should do that. And also for an income stream, because we can't rely on ratepayers as our costs go up. We can't keep relying on them. We've got to have something else. So I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the amendment?
Can I just ask a question? When we did the lease for the Guildford Road property, was there not a part of that motion for the city to do a briefing or some planning around that whole area? Was that not part of that motion?
I'll go to the CEO.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that was my understanding and that was raised by the Deputy Mayor, and we had that work planned to do this year. But with the EOI process, and if council agreed to that, then some of that work would be conducted during the EOI process to see what the market would bring.
Did you wish to speak to it?
No, I'm happy to support this, having heard all of
Okay. Anyone wish to speak for the amendment? Anyone wish to speak against? So I'll put the amendment to the vote. All those in favour? So that amendment is, it's Councillor Maleka, Councillor Sazowski, Councillor Palmer, Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Latta, Deputy Mayor and myself. All those against? Councillor Eveson. So that amendment now forms part of the substantive motion. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you. Can I speak on the motion? Thank you. So specifically, I would like to speak about 2 Hudson Street. Playgroups are very important services, in my view, in our community, supporting children's development and socialization, and also for parents and for their mental health during those very busy times when they have babies and toddlers to look after. Some of them have a few, or even several at the same time, like I did. Not all parents send their kids to childcare centres so quickly and go back to work. Some decide to stay longer, which I did and others do as well. And playgroups is one of those venues that parents find very useful to have the kids mingle around and prepare for school and other aspects. And also I should highlight grandparents also go there, and other carers, and also dads, and not just moms, also dads. I met several dads there. So it's a great place, very important. Playgroups are not for profits. They need and require city buildings to operate from. There aren't any other facilities that they can actually do that. I don't support the sale of the building, and I don't support the partial sale of the car park. I think they should all come together, as I understood. And I saw sometimes some of the sessions of the 2 playgroups happening at the same time. The car park is quite full. When there are birthday parties like I experienced, the car park can be full, so it makes sense to keep everything together. Even if this is not rejected tonight, if the sale is still rejected tonight, I felt, and this is why I tried to move my amendment, and it did not go to a vote, but I wanted to secure the playgroups for the long term. All councillors know around the table that the future council can make a different decision, and that can happen after October, it can happen in 2 years, it can happen in 5 years. I wanted to secure in a model similar to looking into a model like the Mellons Playgroup, where we have on Richard Street an out-of-school hours care operating in the mornings, in the afternoon, and in the middle we have the playgroups. When I went there, we never saw the people from the out-of-school hours care. There was no interaction. It worked, I think, for my discussions with the playgroup people, that managed perfectly. There was revenue stream to the city that helps to deal with
Deputy Mayor,
refurbishments.
I'm sorry, you need to talk about what's on the table, not about something that never got put onto the table.
I'm talking about...
You're talking about your amendment that didn't get up. So can you please talk to the actual motion, what's on the table?
Okay. I hope that the place of the playgroups will be secured for a long term, even if this is rejected. I think this is the place for them. And there was support, I want for the record, from the playgroups to explore this. But this is, again, the amendment. So, I thank you very much for all those who came and spoke. And I understand there was a petition. It was not tabled tonight, but I saw it. So there is very strong support for this type of services. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Sutherland?
Yeah, look, I think this is a good compromise. Number one, I'd like to thank all the deputations from last week and also the emails I received. I think I'm a high school teacher, and I think these playgroups are really important, not just for obviously it's great social interaction for parents, grandparents, mums, dads, all sorts, when they're new mums and new dads, etc. But they're also good too for the children and the little ones. You're never too little to become socialised, and I think this is a great way of doing it in a fun way. So I think this is a really good one for 2 Hudson. I'm happy to keep that. I think it's really important. And the other ones, obviously, we need to look at these things. For the people in the gallery and for everyone, the report does say the disposal will generate funds to establish the city's alternative revenue stream. And we did pay for someone to come and do all of this, so we have to keep that in mind. But I think for this particular one, we have to keep it. It's obvious that the community uses it, loves it, and I think this is a good combination.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. So, Councillor Johnson, the amended motion was carried unanimously.
It's gone through already?
Yes.
Is it all combined? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll now move on to the next item, which is 10.1.3, release of confidential resolutions in relation to the Eastern Metropolitan Regional Council. Deputy Mayor, you've pulled this one.
Yes, thank you. I would like to move the officer's recommendation with some amendments, as you will see on the screen, I'm assuming soon. Here you go, which essentially says that we will release not only the council resolutions with regards to the MRC, but also the officer's recommendations and the report, while redacting any confidential information from them.
Councillors, you've all been provided with this. Do I have a seconder? That laps it. Oh, Councillor Johnson. Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, look, this issue is already out, and I received queries about this. And by providing just the council resolutions on such an issue, that is definitely not enough for transparency. And I believe that all councils support transparency. We should provide all the information that we are able to the public, so they can understand the decisions and where we are at now, and the complications and challenges and everything that the reports mentioned. The officers worked very hard on this, and just providing the recommendations is really, the resolution is not enough. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson.
No, I don't have anything to say.
Anyone wish to speak against? Councillor Eason.
Yeah, look, I will, and I'll probably foreshadow the officer's recommendation. I'm definitely aligned to releasing as much information as possible on the recent dealings regarding the MRC. However, I'm also very cautious about releasing too much information, and I guess I formed this view when reading through the reasons for confidentiality in line with the Act, and specifically aligned to Section E, Part 1 and 2, the Local Government Act, that guides handling confidential matters, and the specific sections 1 and 2 of Part E saying a matter, if disclosed, would reveal a trade secret, or number 2, information that has a commercial value to a person. There's still a long way to go in regard to the EMRC. I wrote some words because I am cautious around what can or can't be said or should be said. And I think the officer's recommendation provides the right balance of information and accountability to our residents and ratepayers, while still protecting their city's interests, which are actually aligned with the betterment of our residents and ratepayers. So for that reason, I'm going to foreshadow the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Palmer.
Thank you. I'm just quite satisfied with the fact that they are exercising discretion to redact information from the above reports that is considered confidential, particularly legal advice, commercial information, and information provided by third parties. Now, that to me covers a lot of good, essential information that is respectfully confidential. And because of that, I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Osuzowski.
Thank you. I have a question, please. Where the words say exercising discretion to redact, does that also mean that the city could redact the motions as well, if required, that were resolved?
I'll go to the CEO.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, the intention is that we will release all of the resolutions from the council. It will only be the redaction from the actual contents within the reports that council considered.
Did you wish to speak to it? Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? If not, I'll go the mover to close.
Thank you. This was mentioned, I should have mentioned in a deputation last week requesting this information on behalf of the community. The council decisions have almost no information at all. So no community member will understand anything that council decided. And I urge councillors to support transparency tonight. There is nothing to hide here, really nothing to hide. No matter how you voted, we can put the information out and stand by it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now put this to the vote. All those in favour? That is Councillor Palmer, Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Latta, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Johnson and myself. All those against? Councillor Malacca, Councillor Osuzowski and Councillor Easton. That is carried. So we now move on to 10.3.1, Maylands Town Centre Master Plan. And Deputy Mayor, you've pulled this.
Yes, thank you. So I'm moving the officer's recommendation with 2 additional limbs.
So councillors, that's all been provided to you in advance.
And it's on the screen, so
And it's on the
probably, yeah, so I probably don't need to read it, right?
No, you don't need
Okay,
to
good.
read it. So I'll just ask if there's a seconder. Councillor Palmer, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I want to start by thanking the state government for preparing and leading the work on this master plan. It has been a very robust process that involved participation of many community members and businesses and stakeholders. It applies high level of the healthy streets principles, trying to make one of our main town centers in the city a more pedestrian friendly, more cycling friendly, having more tree canopy, balancing all the needs of all the users in the town center, aiming to get more people to visit the town center, visit the businesses and stay there longer, and also support future developments that we will see in that area. The city of Bayswater was part of the process from day one. We had members participating in the community reference group every meeting. The officers engage with main roads, from what I understand, constantly on issues. There was a very robust community consultation around this, and we have the report as well. The funding is obviously the biggest issue here. There are massive ticket numbers here, but we are not making any commitments tonight. We're just endorsing the master plan, and any funding will be looked at in the future. I'm sure there will be election commitments, hopefully by federal and state governments. It will be there as a starting point to discuss any changes. My changes to the motion is 5 is just to highlight that there will be flexibility for the city to consider any changes to the design if needed to make it more usable and in some ways even to reduce the funding envelope if needed or address any concerns that will be found along the way. Also, number 6, there was a commitment given by the former member for Maylands to already implemented one part of the master plan. It was delivered publicly and also to the Maylands Ratepayers and Residents Association at the meeting. It was confirmed by Mainroads, and we haven't received any information around this. So this is just closing the loop so we can understand how much money we are talking about and when we will get that money, so we can put it aside and understand how we can start looking into this implementation. I would like to take the opportunity to thank everyone who participated, including the Maylands Business Association, the Maylands Ratepayers and Residents Association, and everyone else who participated.
Thank you. Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm very pleased to second this, but I'm just wondering if in LIM 6, whether there may be just a slight change, because I think it's very misleading to say 50 to 70 million when it's only an unused funds pledge linked into that. It just looks very misdirected, as if there was 50 to 70 million there, and whether that can actually be removed, and just as part of the removal of the crossing, so that you have unused funds pledged in 2017. But I think to put 50 to 70 million.
So I'm just checking, are you asking the mover?
Yes,
for
if
an
you could
amendment?
release that.
I'm happy with it. To remove those figures.
Thank you very much.
So can we just get the updated wording on the screen before we progress?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. I'm very happy with that. I'm also very happy that the city have put in a LIM 2, which is the crossing for Caledonian, which I feel is very much an important part of a very important LIM in this. So I'm very happy to support it as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for?
No, look, I'm happy for this. I think, and one of the main reasons it was driven a lot of input went from the businesses in that area, and I think they're in my opinion, a driving force. And it's fortuitous that the member of Maylands is here tonight to have a look at what we need. So I think it's good.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against?
Not against, just some questions, sorry. There was recently, I had asked the city about just get some clarification on what the normal cost for budget would be budgeted for removal of a rail crossing to provide necessary grade separation. So to remove the Caledonian crossing, the state government would have had to have built a bridge over or a tunnel under, and just want to get some clarification on some of the estimates of costs, because there's been a lot of that going on across the state. We should have some numbers, hopefully, of what that should cost.
I'll go to the director.
Through the chair, in regards to this particular crossing, there hasn't been an actual estimate or a feasibility done from the state, from my understanding. Depending on the design, there's lots of different circumstances in terms of size and what you're going over and the terrain and in terms of trying to fit something like that in. But I'd say a reasonable figure would be around the $50 million mark. Obviously, it can vary from that depending on the different circumstances, but I'd say 50 million is probably a reasonable figure.
Thanks. And just to clarify then, so the total figure that we had received was 25 million, is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay. Enough for now.
Anyone wish to speak for? Anyone wish to speak against? I just have a question, probably to the director, and I'm sorry, I'm sure it's in the report, I just can't find it in front of my eyes at this moment. This plan, if it was to be endorsed, I know that we've received $25 million from the state government. What's the unfunded value of this plan?
If I could just have a look at my documents, I'll be able to tell you. It's in the vicinity of about $60 million.
Sorry, $60 million.
That's correct.
Okay. So I'll talk to this item. I will be supporting this only because of LIM 3. $60 million on top of $25 million that's already been expended is a very significant amount of money. And I don't want the community to have expectations that that $60 million can be funded from the City of Bayswater. I don't see how that could ever work. So LIM 3, being very clear that the unfunded elements need to be sought through grant funding or state government contributions. So I want that to be very clear. And for that reason alone is the only reason why I'm supporting this. Anyone else wish to speak on this? If not, I'll go the mover to close. Okay, I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour? That is Councillor Maleka, Councillor Eason, Councillor Palmer, Councillor Sutherland, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Johnson and myself. All those against? Councillor Osuzowski. That is carried. Can we get Councillor Latta back in the room? Councillor Latta, the Deputy Mayor's alternate motion was supported. So we now move on. Oh, well, that concludes the items that were subject to deputations. So we'll move to consideration of the reports in section 10, which have been withdrawn by councillors. And the first one is 10.1.1 Morley Station Precinct Structure Plan and Scheme Amendment. Nobody's pulled this, but it has an impartial interest. So do I have a mover and seconder? Moved Councillor Palmer, seconded Councillor Maleka. Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just feel that we all have a certain stake in the Morley Station Precinct Structure Plan. We've all seen that, and there was a separate booklet that we actually received as well, which I thank the city for. And this is an ongoing good amendment all the way through on the plans that were initially submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Maleka.
Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to thank the officers for the incredible amount of work that's gone into this and for the report. Very comprehensive and, yeah, nothing really further to add. Yeah, happy to support.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Eveson.
Yeah, probably. So look, you definitely support the precinct structure plan aligned to the new Morley station that's located here in Embleton. It sets a strong foundation to improve the area, but I guess there's a lot of positivity to come out of this, but I just wanted to mention some of the loss or some of the costs that we might not be anticipated from this. And it is the loss of industrial land to residential. Whilst that's very fitting, given that there's a new station plonked in Tonkin Highway, it also means that we are losing industrial land, and industrial land provides jobs. It will mean that there's less local businesses and subsequently less local jobs in our city. So I just wanted to, it's probably a little bit of a soapbox thing, but just about we are going to lose more of it, and we don't have a lot of industrial land within the city as it is, and we're potentially going to lose this other section. Especially, I guess it's a double compound when we've got difficulties with the land utilisation in the industrial area that we do have because of the lack of deep sewer. with a 133 hectare section stretching from Broome Ave all the way down to the Swan River that's still on septic. So whilst it's very positive about this section of it, like I said, there is a cost from that, where we are losing industrial land to residential, which I just wanted to mention, but I'll support this one, of course.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Johnson?
So not for or against, just want to acknowledge the folks who had made submissions. It was really interesting to read everyone's submissions and questions around this. There were folks who wanted to be in or out or questioning the boundaries. I found that was really interesting. And I think, yeah, no one really asked for this. We just had to do this work because there's a train station and, you know, we're doing our best to make it work for the people in the neighbourhood. So yeah, I'll be supporting it, but I just want to acknowledge the folks who made those submissions. Are really good.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Anyone wish to speak for? I'll just say a few words that I'm really happy to support this. This plan is an example of how local government can support increased housing supply in key locations while balancing community needs. This plan supports well-located infill housing in line with state planning priorities while also reflecting the priorities of our community. It sets a clear direction for how the area around Morley Station can grow. This includes higher density housing, improved streetscapes, and new commercial opportunities that support local businesses. So just hope it doesn't take too long to get approved. I'll go to the mover to close.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I can understand Councillor Josh Eveson's concerns about the Bayswater industrial area shrinking slightly, but I also think the value of that land is worthy of good residential and commercial mixture. It's so close to the city and to all the new stations. It'll be an advantage. There is commercial and industrial land at Tonkin Industrial, so there is no loss, and it can be just a transfer situation. Also, to do with the sewerage, you know, that really is a state and federal issue, which then can be, if, you know, there were other places that were sewered in Morley and Bayswater that were very cleverly connected and irrigated successfully, and that can happen in BIA if the industrial people want to get their heads together and help the city to go forward with that. This is a double cost for them and for us and for the state. So I'm very happy that this plan is well forwarded, and congratulations to everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now put this to the vote. All those in favour? That is unanimous. So the next item is 10.1.4, nomination of delegates to the Walgar 2025 Annual General Meeting. Nobody's pulled this one, but we do need to deal with it. So I will just get there. So, should I move it? Ask for nominations? So what I'll do is I'll ask if there's nominations, and then once we have some nominations, we can ask for a mover and seconder. So I'll nominate myself as a voting delegate. Would anyone else like to nominate?
I'm happy to.
Councillor Ladder? Any other nominations? If not, if we can update that. And proxy voting delegates. Would anyone like to be a proxy? Councillor Sutherland? Anybody else? I'm going to go to councillors first, and then if not, I'll nominate the CEO. I guess I'm nominating the CEO. Okay, I'm happy to move that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Palmer? I have nothing to say, Councillor Palmer. I'll put that straight to the vote. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Okay, so the next item has been pulled by Councillor Johnson. It's 10.2.1 financial report for period ended 30 June.
Thank you. So just a question on one of the attachments, attachment 6, the cashback reserves. I just have a question about the climate action reserve and wondering how the transfers into it are calculated and what expenses are coming out of it.
Thank you. I'll go to the Director of Finance. I can't say corporate.
Through the Mayor, the annual allocation that's made to the Climate Action Reserve is $120,000, and that is based on the city's original calculation that determined how much we would save per annum from contracting through WALGA for energy, and that amount has been maintained since the point in time that that calculation was established. The additional contributions going into that reserve would be the interest income. I would need to take on notice the amount that has been transferred from that reserve to confirm what that's been applied to.
Thank you. Can I ask a follow-up question, please? So if the original, so the money going in is calculated based on what an assumption was that would change, is there any intention to update that process to use the actual savings?
Thank you. I'll go to the Director.
Through the Mayor, at this stage we don't have systems in place to calculate what the actual savings are, and the only way we can think to review the potential savings would be if the city went to tender and then compared the responses that we got against the WALGA tender prices to try and come up with an estimate that way. But it's certainly something we can look at in the next budget cycle to come up with some more estimates.
Sorry to labour the point. Maybe if I could clarify, I'm just thinking like the city generates power from its solar panels and that saves money. Is that not included in our energy savings, or am I looking at it wrong?
I'll go to the Director.
Through the Mayor, it is a consideration and we can look at the amount that's been generated through that and bring that back as part of budget deliberations to determine a new amount to transfer to that reserve.
Did you wish to move this
Sure,
item?
happy to move the item. Is it?
Do I have a
as whole?
seconder? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Johnson, anything? Deputy Mayor, I'll put this straight to the vote. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Okay, so that's it for section 10. So we'll now move to adopt the remaining items in section 10 on block. Do I have a mover and seconder? Move Councillor Maleka, seconded Councillor Latta. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Okay, so we'll now move to notices of motion, and we have one this evening. It's 11.1, Councillor Latta, differential rates for short-term rentals. Did you wish to read out your motion? No? Okay, so I'll ask if there's a seconder. Councillor Johnson. Councillor Latta.
Thank you. This is, I suppose, a response to concerns that have been raised with me by residents who are aware at the moment, very aware of many applications for short-term rentals in our district because of the state scheme that requires development applications for short-term rentals that are unhosted. And many of them have raised with me concerns about our inability to influence where they are, how many there are, and their contribution back into the community. So this is a fairly simple motion. It's exploratory. It doesn't commit us to anything. It just asks the city to present us with some more information as part of the budget process about whether there is a position that we can take, whether there are tools that we can use, and what the costs, benefits and risks around introducing a different rating category for short-term rental is, which may or may not be a tool that we can use. So I'm happy to, I suppose, maybe speak a little bit about some of the more specific concerns that people have raised, particularly people who are concerned about housing availability and who have included that concern in their consultation feedback for development applications in the area, and have seen that it's not a relevant planning consideration. And so we don't currently have a way to consider whether the balance is a good balance, whether it's not a good balance, whether we might want something else in the future. So this is a way, I guess, for us to explore as a council what our thoughts are about it and whether there are tools that we can use in that space.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this will be of great interest to people in our community who feel that living next to a hosted accommodation is very different to living next to a different type of accommodation, or so an unhosted short-term rental is living next to someone else, and be interested to explore the difference it makes to the neighbourhood in terms of maybe waste management, parking, things like that. I think there are real changes. So it's really interesting sport. I think lots of other local governments will also be interested in possibly exploring this as an option too, because we have a housing shortages and short-term rentals are making a lot of money. So I think it's a very different scenario. I think it's worthy of exploring. And thanks, Councillor, for bringing this up.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Councillor Sadowski.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Ladder, for putting this forward. Unfortunately, I can't support this type of motion that would impose a new rating category. I'm concerned that introducing a new type of property tax risks deterring investment in our city. Short-term rental accommodations contribute to our economic diversity, and they support everyday mum and dad investors, retiree investors, homeowners who are just trying to make their property investments work for them. That's really important. Housing availability is absolutely a consideration, but people put a lot of money into their properties, and it's important that they can manage those financial responsibilities. People don't need and certainly do not want another type of tax being imposed on them by the local government. So unfortunately tonight I cannot support this motion.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak in favour? Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just do feel that we need to really keep a watch on our residential status in the city of Bayswater. We can't just let this flow on without seeing the consequences of our residents, wherever they are, being sort of involved in a zone that is short term. And I feel that with our local planning strategy going forward, the new one, some sort of zoning for short-term rental accommodation has to be recognised. We can't just have the whole city, just splattered around with short-term rental accommodation. It can be areas similar to Scarborough, where some beach areas are very well accepted as short-term accommodation, short-term rental accommodation. And it's accepted by the community, it's accepted by the residents, those are the areas. And I'm hoping that we also can have a sensible control over those areas within the city of Bayswater. We have a wonderful river, we're close to the city, we have stations. So we've got all the needs there for short-term rental accommodation, but it can't be slap bang in the middle of a residential area that isn't conducive to it. So I think having this control, and it's not a deterrent, but it's certainly a way of knowing what's going on within your community. And yes, why not? To me, it says 15% higher in this report. I think that's chicken feed. So I can't see that it would harm anybody who's making hundreds and hundreds of dollars a week against the residential quiet enjoyment of other citizens. So I'm happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against? Councillor Sutherland.
I'm not sure yet. I just want to say I've come back from Europe and I did booking.com on all short term, and I was in suburbs and nobody's heads were exploding. I do this thing where because you're getting a bit of profit, you should pay more rates or more taxes. I don't subscribe to. And the other thing, a lot of people in the area, and I've said this before, they do this, they come for short-term accommodation because they come from the country or, other areas. They might be staying in Perth because their family's in hospital, and it is not, they're not doing it for holidays all the time. That is a reason. Not everyone can afford to stay in hotels. To me, it's no different to having house shares where you've got people renting. There might be 6 or 7 cars at the front. It's the same thing. So I just can't get my head around it. Sorry.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak for? Anyone wish to speak against? Councillor Maleka.
Thank you. I'm not sure which way I'm going with this one yet. And look, I do understand your intent, I guess, Councillor Latta. Just I'm not convinced that applying these tools is actually going to achieve much, especially because we're only considering 180 rateable dwellings, which is probably under 1% of all of our rateable dwellings in the city. And so I think similarly to what Councillor Sutherland was saying, I know many people who travel to Perth and choose to actually have a short-term rental accommodation because in the suburbs, because it offers more space, they have families, it's convenient, the proximity to their own friends and family. And for these travellers, a house in the suburb is far more practical. And so I'm concerned that this might actually become a deterrent. And then if it's going to cost more for the owner, that they will transfer those costs to the renter, I guess. So look, I'm not quite sure which way I'm going yet, and there may be some unintentional impacts that this may play out with. So I'm still thinking about it.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak for?
Not
Councillor Easton.
for, just a question. I'm just from to whichever the relevant director. I think it's fine for corporate. The basis for this information would be the state government's STRA register. Is that correct?
I'll go to the Director of Corporate.
That's correct, Madam Mayor.
So this is still quite new. There's a property that's on the register, or it falls under the 90 days. If it goes over 91 days, is that how are we going to know how many days this property is hosted or unhosted? Those sorts of complexities or details.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the city would need to rely on that register. So it's up to the owners of the property to fill in that register according to their usage details. They would be expected to apply for a development application if they are intending to make that available for more than 90 days. But the city wouldn't have a compliance checking mechanism to actually check whether it's been more or less than 90 days rented.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, look, I'll speak on it. I'm probably not for it. I understand the intention, but I think that is interesting that we're not going to have, I guess, very good data, and we're basically we're going to tax someone more on their honesty system that they're going to tell us that we can tax them more. I think that's going to be difficult, and we've got no mechanism to check. I think that's concerning. So I guess, look, I'll put some point of view because I've dwelled on this one a bit. It's not sure where to go. I sympathise and I understand the potential intent of the motion. I'm just not convinced that this is the way to unlock housing, or the best way to unlock housing and to generate income, which I think are the two intents. I think this process is going to be a lot of effort for quite a little return. it sounds like we're essentially going to become property managers for around 180 properties, but they also have to come through development approval. So I'm not convinced that they're just going to pop up all over the place, because they have to come to council for a development approval to be an STRA. So that I'm not concerned about them just appearing. But I guess the thing that I'm most troubled with is the city's we've done a lot of work to try and let people understand the city of Bayswater is here. We are actually a place. We're an inner city suburb. We want you to come and visit. And then but we don't want tourism because we're going to tax people that are trying to offer tourism options or accommodation for tourism options that are local. You can stay close by and walk down to, Coventry's and get some food while you're staying with family. So I'm a little bit torn on these sorts of things. I'm just not convinced that this is the best mechanism for value and ease. I do use Airbnbs a lot when I travel. My family of 5 don't fit in a hotel well. You got to get 2 rooms and a half. So a house is a much better option for me, and I like to stay close to family when we do travel, and Airbnbs do provide that. So as I mentioned, I think I'm a bit concerned around what sort of message this sends out, and I don't probably fundamentally agree internally with that message that that we don't want people to come and stay and visit, to stay here and spend their money, which is the basic economics that we're trying to build, especially around the Morley Town Centre. But I guess, and then, there's a bit of rebuttal that, it's just seeking out information and testing the waters, but it's pretty complicated, and I'm not sure that the yield is going to be enough. There's an estimate around 40,000. That's if we can increase the rates that much higher than our standard rate, which is probably not guaranteed, because we do have to have that control and deviation from our standard rate. So that's probably a bit of what's going on in my head at the moment. I think focusing on underutilised land and vacant land that the city owns is a probably much better idea. We've seen a couple of items on that tonight, which that's the intent. So I think that's probably a better focus for unlocking housing, especially diverse housing, and also freeing up lazy capital, essentially, for land that's sitting around and not doing anything but worth money that someone could develop and we could get rates income for. So that's probably where I'm at this stage.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Look, I probably will echo some of the comments that I heard here. I'm also not sure yet about this. I thank the mover. I think there is positive intent behind this. I'm also not sure if this is a tool that I support. I understand it is based on Fremantle and Perth that already do this, but from what I understand, they apply this for a completely different reason. They actually want to discourage short-term accommodation to divert people to the hotels and motels in the areas, but we do not have that infrastructure. We, in some way, should be grateful that we have short-term accommodation around in different locations in our suburbs. I know my parents-in-law many times used it, and I'm very grateful that they were able to live not far from us for the time that they were there. So I don't think that the enemy. I did have reservations with regards to short-term accommodation, which I mentioned last month when we talked about a specific application, about specific locations. I think, and this is not what the motion addresses, this is about higher rates. The locations, from what I understand, will be addressed, and we will look into this in a policy that the city is currently developing and will come to us, to the policy committee. And I think that is a separate issue. We should definitely consider whether all locations are suitable, or we should prioritize the town centres or specific locations. It's a whole different discussion than this. I do want to understand, because it mentions compliance. I heard that as a statement that they require much more compliance. I do need that information. So I don't have that. How much, and I understand this motion will bring that information, how much the city actually spend on them, if at all. But I also note what was noted before, we are talking about only 180 properties. So the question is whether it's worth undertaking all this journey for that amount. So I'm torn.
Thank you. I have a few questions actually that I'm going to direct to the director. My first question is probably around LIM 2 differential rating category for short-term accommodation. Can you just apply differential rates for any reason, or is it specifically it needs to meet certain criteria to have not a residential, to have a commercial or a differential rate for a certain category?
Madam Mayor, as part of setting differential rating categories, council needs to establish what's called the Statement of Objects and Reasons. So that involves defining exactly the intent for which you're setting up a category for short-term rental accommodation.
Okay.
So you have to be very specific about why you're doing it, for what purpose.
So apart from the purpose, I'm interested in the actual logistics of being able to implement this as part of our rating system, and the type of effort required by the city for such a small group of properties.
Madam Mayor, it would be a manual process that the city would have to undertake. Usually when we get valuations from Landgate, it's a very automated process where properties are listed on schedules and they automate up into our system, but there's no actual way to differentiate in residential properties of what you're applying a short-term rental accommodation category for. So there would be a very manual element of just checking that STRA, what's been listed on the register, overlaying that onto any schedules that we receive from Landgate. And whenever you have such a manual process, that's where it's more prone to error, and you have to make sure you've got good controls in place to manage any risk, and it has to be able to be audited when OAG come in and have a look. And from our benchmarking with other local governments who use the same property and rating system, they struggle with this. And it's a very manual process for them, and one of them doesn't actually process interims during the year because of their complex differential rating structure. It's not just linked to STRA, it's their overall structure. But it does pose challenges.
So that sounds quite labour intensive.
It's a Madam Mayor, it's a labour intensive process, albeit it's for 180 properties at this stage. So it's around 0.5% of our rate base.
Okay, thank you. And another question, but it might be to a different director. Do we have any data or statistics on the number of complaints the city has received in terms of our short-term rental accommodation?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have that data readily in front of me. However, I would not say it's significant as it's not something that comes across my desk regularly as a complaint.
Thank you. So I'll just add that I think there was a lot of really good comments from councillors, and it's made me think a lot about it. I've been really unsure about this one as well, because I don't disagree with the intent behind it. I don't disagree with that, but I just don't think that there's value in what we're actually suggesting in terms of the number of properties, in terms of the return to the city, in terms of, I agree with a lot of comments from everyone who's spoken actually. I don't think people who utilise short-term rental accommodation are any worse than people who are in long-term rental accommodation, worse or better. Everyone, I don't see why there's such a negative connotation to people looking for accommodation. There's so many different uses for short-term accommodation. I think there's definitely need for housing, but there has to be a mix of options within the city. I can't really think of, other than the Bayswater Hotel, I can't really think of any other, if I had people visiting my family, where they could stay close to my house or anywhere in the city of Bayswater actually. And I really take on board the comments from Councillor Easton. I've got 3 children. I know what it was like travelling as a family. And yeah, staying in hotels when you need more than one room is very expensive. And we want people to visit our city. We've got 6 train stations. We are an inner city locality that is desirable. We have the river, we have, great green spaces, we have great, restaurants, cafes, bars, shops. We want people to come and see what there is to offer in our city. So I don't see the value in what is in front of us now. And as the Deputy Mayor alluded, there will be a policy coming back that considers, broader issues. So at this stage, I can't support this. So I'll go to the mover to close.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for your contributions. I'll work backwards. So firstly, I think the register is enforced by the platforms. I don't think that people can put their properties on those platforms for longer than 90 days of a year without them having the appropriate registrations. From that perspective, I don't think that that's an issue. I don't think that anything that I'm doing here suggests that I hate short-term rental accommodation. I certainly don't. I also participate in short-term rentals, and I understand their role in the economy and in our area. But with other commercial operations, we have tools. We can designate a commercial area and only so many businesses can open in that area because we create those limits. But we have none of those with short-term rental. Anywhere in the city they could be, and to any number. And whilst right now it's 180, we are 10 minutes from the train station. We have a riverside, 11 kilometres of riverside properties. We are so close to the inner city. It is an excellent location, and there are still 5.5 months left for people to register their properties. So I'm sure that by the end of the year, we're not going to be dealing with only 180 properties. And I think that when we think about the different impact of a short-term rental property and a commercial property, I want to really understand that. That's why I've brought this, and I don't claim to know all of the answers, but they do have a different impact. And it's interesting that people seem to think that it is like anti-short-term rental to require them to pay their fair share in rates, but nobody was saying it was anti-business to bring in differential rates for commercial properties. And I'm sure that you don't think of yourself as anti-business for having done that. So it is exactly the same principle here. It is about paying their fair share for the impacts that they have on amenity, on parking, on our roads, on ranges and security if required, on compliance issues that might arise. And I will say that in the past, compliance issues may have been quite different because properties didn't need to register in the same way. They didn't have management plans that now they have. So this is about understanding fully the situation that we are dealing with and understanding what the costs, what the benefits, what the risks are of applying this kind of rating category through our business planning process. It doesn't tie anybody to agreeing to that. All it says is, yes, I want to understand this picture fully. I'm not going to make up my mind on half information. And I think that we all deserve that opportunity, actually, to think about it fully and weigh up the pros and the cons. And to understand what impact short-term rental has on the city, what benefits it has on the city, and whether a differential rating category is appropriate given the different challenges that have been raised. So I hope you will all consider enabling us to learn more and understand and make a fully informed decision about this.
Thank you. I'll now put this to the vote. All those in favour? That's Councillor Palmer, Councillor Latta, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Johnson. All those against? Councillor Maleka, Councillor Sosowski, Councillor Easton, Councillor Sutherland and myself. That is lost. So we'll now go to Item 12, questions from members without notice. Do we have any questions? Councillor Sadowski.
Thank you. My question's in reference to our ordinary council meeting from the 22nd of August 2023, and it was a discussion that council had around Bath Road intersection with Morley Drive, the roundabout, the acquisition of the land, and how we were going to manage the impacts to the residents on Woking, Fitzgerald and Bath. Part of the resolution said that the city would restrict the use of amount received for the acquisition of those lots at Woking Reserve there to landscape the embankments near the corner of Woking Street, Bath Road, and the corner of Bath and Fitzgerald to reduce the impact of the new intersection and to increase the amenity for those residents living in that area. So I'm just wondering, has money been received yet from the state government for the purchase of those lots of land?
Thank you. I'll go to the Director.
Through the chair, I believe so. There's also some state funds coming towards the landscaping around that area as well. There has been a tender called for that work, and prices have been received, and the city is working through those prices and the scope of works. What I'll probably need to do is take that on notice and provide a more detailed update to councillors.
Thank you. In particular, I'm interested to know if we will be restricting those funds for that use, because that is what the council resolution had said. So I'd like to somehow see how that's going to be incorporated into a budget or a mid-year budget review, so that we can assure that that money is there for that work, and so that the city can start planning a project around that.
I'll go to the Director.
Yeah, we'll take that on board and provide an update.
Thank you. Councillor Eveson.
Yeah, just one. There's the McGilvray Ave and Morley Drive project. I just wanted to check in with the city. Has there been any further updates on main roads regarding the $4 million election funding commitment? Just in regards to scope, data around traffic. Do we know when consultation is going to commence with the public, that sort of thing?
Thank you. I'll go to the Director.
Through the chair, Main Roads have commenced the detailed design process. So what they're working on at the moment is a 15% detailed design. They're expected to finish that early this financial year, the 25-26 financial year. Once that's finished, they will go out to community consultation with those plans, and from that information again from the community, they'll work on the designs further. Their aim is to get the work done in the following financial year. When I say the work, I mean the actual work of building the intersection and the changes there.
Okay, so sorry, they're only just working on 15% now. So the 4 million was committed on a 5%er. Is that sort of concept plan? Is that what's happened?
Through the chair, I believe that it was based on a figure that was basically developed internally at Main Roads, but I also believe it has a fair bit of contingency built into that as well.
Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just reiterating, that was the same plan that we received where the McGilvray turning left only comes into force, and then they do a U-turn further up. So we've had those plans, same plans?
I'll go to the Director.
Through the chair, that's correct. That is the intention, is to remove the right turn out and force vehicles to turn left and do a U-turn provision. It also includes improving the left-in manoeuvre, putting an island and put a giveaway control there, and there's also some service relocations that are required to accommodate all this work.
Thank you.
I just have another question on that item then. So can you confirm, did Main Roads consider that option against any other options, or is that the only one that they've considered and not compared it against any other?
So you might recall, it'll probably be close to 3 years ago, they did have a plan where they looked at a much greater project involving retaining walls and a service road.
Yeah.
And there was some consideration towards potentially even traffic lights at one stage. So that's what it's being compared to. This is a much more cost-effective solution compared to, say, doing major earthworks and putting retaining walls and all the interruptions they have towards the properties, putting a service road in.
So I guess my question is more around the option at the moment is to only allow a left-hand motion out from McGilvray onto Morley Drive and then a U-turn further up. Was there another option allowing both the left and right out of McGilvray, but not allowing Morley Drive to turn right into McGilvray? Was that option, and was traffic modelling done by Main Roads to determine the impact against both of those options?
I believe they looked at all different options for the site. The reason why they've selected that particular arrangement is because it's based on the crashes that have occurred on site. So the types of crashes that occurred, this type of banning the right turn out will address those crashes that have occurred in the past at that location.
Is it possible to ask Main Roads for a copy of the comparisons in terms of the traffic modelling?
I can do that. I can ask them and see what they can provide us.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Within this concept plan and the surrounding area, will there be any slowing of traffic signage within areas that are, maybe rat runs, such as Lincoln Road, for 50-mile-per-hour signage?
Go to the Director.
Through the Chair, I'm not sure whether they're going to put some signs to slow traffic. I know they've done modelling in terms of where vehicles might go instead of, or try and avoid that intersection and try to use other roads like Lincoln Road. So they have done that modelling, and they've also checked the other intersections in the area nearby to see how they perform, and I believe everything is satisfactory.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. I've got a couple that have been asked a few times, so I thought I'd ask them now. Laneway, I don't remember the council meeting where we discussed the laneway for Carrick Lane. So it was one of our first naming projects. It was brought to us in 2022. The laneway between Stewart Street, Crawford Road, York Street and Elmer or Railway, one of the others. I think we agreed to call it Carrick Lane, but it's got a street sign on it now, and the street sign says Laneway. And I'm just wondering if there's an intention to call it a proper name.
I'll go to the Director.
Through the Chair, that is an interesting situation that there's a sign that says Laneway. I believe that might have been prior to naming, might have been put in just to give directions to show that there is rear access to those properties. But what I'll do is take that on notice and provide further information of what's happened there and what the plan is going forwards.
That'd be good, thank you. It feels a bit incomplete. Another question about Garrett Road Bridge works that have been going on. It's the third time it's happened in the last 10 years, I think. Garrett Road's been closed for a while. I think they're doing something. Main Roads is doing something. I know it's not us, but can I just ask what's happening, when it's going to finish, and is the bike path going to be wide enough for maybe even two bikes to path each other, but even a bike and a pedestrian would be an improvement?
I'll go to the Director.
Through the Chair, I believe the works are related to the bridge. It's a large timber structure, needs a lot of maintenance and a lot of renewal of components in that bridge to keep it going. It is a Main Roads project done through one of their contractors. I don't have all the information, but what I can do is approach Main Roads and get an update in terms of the progress of the project and what it means as well in terms of the pedestrian and cyclist access across that bridge.
Awesome, thank you, because it looks like it's stalled, but I don't know. Then I just have one more question, which is a follow-up to something that was asked here in the chambers a few months ago. We don't have a bike rack at the front of the Civic building. Just wondering where the bike rack is, please.
I'll go to the Director.
Through the Chair, I believe the bike rack that was out there was damaged, was hit or struck by a vehicle. That's been removed and it is meant to be replaced. I thought it might have been replaced by now, but it is being replaced in a different location. I know that. I will find out what has happened to that and when it's going to be replaced, but I know it is going to be replaced.
Thank you kindly.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you. I have a question or a few questions about the Bowden Street Reserve project. I understand that the final concept design was finalized in 2023. This is a site next to Grand Promenade. My question is whether since then the city has contacted Water Corp, because this is a Water Corp site, and the state government asking for funding to implement the concept design.
I'll go to the director.
Through the chair, I believe we've had discussions with the Water Corporation. I mean, the concepts are completed. We do have a figure. It is actually in our Forward Capital Works program. It's actually listed as being 100% funded in the Forward Capital Works program, which means that we do need to chase funding if we want
from
that
the city?
project. So,
Okay, fully funded by the city.
No, what I'm saying is it's grant funded, meaning that external funding will be funded for the project. So whether it's Water Corporation or the state, we need to chase that funding to be able to make that project go ahead.
So thank you. So just a follow-up question. So if this is fully funded by grant, as I understood it, have we already contacted them seeking that funding as a closure for that process that the city undertook?
Through the chair, I'll have to see when the last time it was that was discussed with Water Corp, but I can say that it has been discussed in the past with the Water Corporation in terms of trying to get that project funded.
Sorry, Director, you might have to speak a bit louder because it's the background noise of the rain. I don't know if you can hear very well the Director. No, so if you can just speak a bit louder.
I'll move the microphone a bit closer as well. We have, in the past, we have spoken to Water Corporation about funding the project. I will go back to the offices and see when the last time was that we spoke to them and whether we need to fire off another correspondence or a meeting with Water Corporation to see whether they can fund the project in future.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is to the Lightning Swamp bushland area where there has been a walkway, an old walkway, which is now crushed and in pieces. It was done by the Work for the Dole people, I think in the 2005 to 2010s. I have mentioned it before, so I'm wondering how that's happening, if it's in some sort of progress to be fixed or removed or reinstalled.
I'll go to the Director.
Through the chair, I'll have to take that one on notice and provide an update to you.
Thank you. And also, really congratulations to the council and to the city for the Strutway pathway, which is nearly finished or concluded. It's very nice and wide, which is great. But I'm wondering, I did speak to somebody on trees, whether there's going to be some sort of planting taking place, similar to Robert Thompson, where you have an assortment of good trees, jacarandas, flame, and the Australian bushland ones.
You forgot
whether
London
we
Plain.
can talk to, whether we can get some sort of something going on that now, so people can have a planting day for Strutway. There's lots of space there for good trees.
I'll go to the Director.
Through the chair, we do have plans of putting trees in there. I did go out there and I did talk to some of the residents out there and they did ask for some trees to be put around there and we've committed to doing that.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Are we able to have a little sort of community meeting so that they can see what the plan is and what the trees are? We did something similar at Robert Thompson years ago.
I'll go to the Director.
Yes, we can do that.
Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to item 13, which is new business of an urgent nature. And councillors and members of the public gallery, we have one item of urgent business this evening, and I will defer to the CEO to explain the urgency of this item.
Through you, Madam Mayor, this item is an item of urgent business for council to consider. It's in relation to the Maylands Lakes and the works that Alluvium have been doing with council. So this is an extension of their contract to do some of the detailed design for the stage 1 works implementation. We wanted to bring this back to council so that we're not waiting for another month, so that we can engage and do some of that design for the stage 1 implementation.
Thank you. Can I have a mover and seconder to accept item 13.1 Maylands Lakes procurement as urgent business? Moved Councillor Latta, seconded Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Councillor Latta?
Yeah,
Just reminding there's a confidential attachment.
sure. Yeah, I'm happy for us to get a move on, and my understanding is like this is already budgeted as part of what we have put aside in this year's budget, and so I'm pleased to see the city so keen to get cracking.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anyone wish to speak against? Councillor Palmer?
Not to speak against, but I'm concerned about the letter that was received, and it's confidential, so I can't actually talk about it. But
Unless
I'd
you
like
want to go behind closed doors.
Have to go behind closed doors.
Okay, so if that's the case, do I have a mover and seconder to go behind closed doors? Are you moving that, Councillor Palmer?
Yes, I'll move that.
Do I have a seconder to go behind closed doors? Councillor Johnson, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's Councillor Maleka, Councillor Sazowski, Councillor Eason, Councillor Palmer, Councillor Latta, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Johnson, myself. All those against? Councillor Sutherland, that is carried. Sorry, members in the gallery, we need to close the doors. So would anyone like to speak for? Anyone like to speak against? If not, I'll put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Okay. So item 14 is meeting close to the public, and there are no confidential items to discuss this evening. So I will close this meeting at 8:47 p.m. Thank you, councillors.